Yes.
Nice. All right then. Welcome to the Indie Bandits Twitch and YouTube channel. My name is Jimmy, and I'm here with Joe.
Hello.
How are you doing, Joe?
I'm not too bad. Lovely end to a week. I'm happy it's over, but it's Friday, so there's that. Tough week, but it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to it. Let's conquer some medieval Europe.
Let's do it. Where were we last time? We defended Alexandria a couple of times, and we lost a place in France, didn't we?
We lost Rennes, if I recall correctly. Is it Rennes?
It is.
Is that where Rennes is? Up there? Yeah. So from my notes, I have that we lost Rennes, and we ceded Cairo because it sounded better.
Yeah.
But we essentially just abandoned Cairo because
everyone was a bit angry.
The Egyptians are just not happy with being run by some English Catholics.
No.
So the plan is take the entire army out, let the Egyptians take back Cairo, then whoop their butts, then kill them all.
Put the entire population on the sword.
Exactly. Diplomacy.
Yep.
So, yeah, and then from there
Medieval
it'll be
diplomacy.
easier to manage.
Yeah.
Medieval diplomacy, exactly. So we'll, and from there it should be more manageable because they're less likely to kick off because they've done nothing but kick off since we violently and brutally put them under our control.
I know it's almost as if they didn't really want foreign invaders to come in and take over, which I don't understand that really, but whatever.
No, from the English perspective, I'm fairly certain the motto of the British Empire was, "You want us here."
Even if you don't, you do.
You do really, though. You do really.
Yeah. It's like, I know you don't, but you do. Come on.
Come on, think about it. You love having us here. It's like having like in-laws over at Christmas. It's like, you say you don't want us here, but you do.
You do, man.
You love it when we come over and tell you how to run your home.
All right. They just killed someone. Yep.
It sounds like they did.
Henry's been executed for heresy, apparently. All right. They're just killing off our family members now. Is anyone else up there?
Who?
Jean de Beauchamp. This little
That's a great name.
Martinus Ferius.
Oh, that's a good name. Does he sound like a Disney mouse though?
I hope so. Oh,
That'd be
hang on.
class.
It's not making any noise.
Not even royalty escapes God's judgment.
Now it's going to probably play that soundbite like 80 times.
The fact that he just said that after having killed someone from the royal family is fantastic timing. Made him sound like a Bond villain.
Oh, with a name like Martinus Fernandez.
Look at Spain again.
Come face me.
Cannot help it. Just an army of ballistas, apparently.
Just, you know what? They've done good though, because I know in real life, they went that when they tried to come over here, they went the wrong way around. We'll hello Longplay. We'll keep it on the DL that you're here. So nudge nudge wink wink. We won't tell anyone you're supposed to be working. You can do both. I think we offer the kind of content where you don't have to pay that much attention because we're not. So you can get work done and watch streams. I was sent all the animated episodes of the Viz Comics Did the Sexist earlier on today, and that really took 45 minutes out of my work day. I'd never seen it, but as Geordie's, apparently it was something I had to watch. If you don't know the Viz, it's an
adult comic.
Yeah, but not adult comic. It's
not porn. It's adult, like 18 rated jokes, isn't it?
Yes, it's adult humor. It's adult humor comic, but apparently in the early 90s they did a series of animated shorts featuring Bob Mortimer of all people. And the character is literally just an early 90s sexist who's constantly out on the drink trying to pull women. So I had 45 minutes of that, and I did not get much work done. So I didn't really prove my point long play, but with our stuff, you can work and watch our streams.
Oh yeah. There'll be nothing of importance being talked about here.
That's not our style. I'm not a fan of
Except,
changing
like,
the world.
3 streams ago when we went fairly in depth on the difference between British and American
God's
politics.
servant.
Oh yeah, that got heavy. That's maybe that's why we should stream earlier, because I think
God's
it's like that meme, isn't it? It's like I don't often get political when I drink, and then it's like an old medieval tapestry of just like a big battle, like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel what?
Oh my
what
God.
is it with
New
alcohol
family
and
member called
politics?
Maggot.
Nice. Maggot what?
Maggot.
Ah.
He's got Maggot.
Hey, do you know what I forgot to say? Do you know who? Not who. What would have happened last time round? I did me primary school homework.
What year are
between
we in?
streams. If my maths is correct, we're in 1232, and last session was 1216 to 1232.
All right. Give us a clue. Like where did this event happen?
I'll give you a clue, and if you don't get it, I don't know what to tell you. But the clue is this event happened in Salisbury.
Oh my God. I'm drawing a massive blank.
Oh no, it's pretty classical stuff that happened in medieval times.
A battle.
In no, sorry, maybe I led you down the wrong way.
Random people being killed for what they believe in because it was different to what the monarchy believed in.
Oh no, you're moving too near the medieval thing and too far away from the Salisbury thing.
As you will.
Oh my God, I
Do you
don't know.
know Salisbury?
I'm drawing a blank.
What is there in Salisbury?
The steak.
I totally forgot about the steak. Yes,
That's all I'm thinking of.
someone-
All I can think of right now is steak.
Someone had a steak. Yes, on the in 1220, construction began on Salisbury Cathedral. That was it. That's it. It's just a place.
But where did they
keep
keep the stakes though? Was that in the cathedral?
in the cathedral?
Right,
It was
okay.
the whole reason they built such a massive cathedral. They're like, we're
Just
not
to
getting
store
anyone.
stakes.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like
Well,
the Mormon temple at Salt Lake City?
No
where
one's
they
allowed.
just,
No.
basically,
no
it's
one's
just Smaug the dragon and the pile of gold.
allowed. And steaks, Mormon steaks. I don't know.
God's servant.
But the cathedral would have took 38 years to complete.
At your service.
I also
Yeah.
did some had a cheeky deeks of some stuff that happened on this calendar day. And in 1643, Louis XIV was crowned King of France, and he was 4 years old, which is like mental. Like you can't have 4-year-olds. I know they have like what are they called, the people who look after them? Regents, maybe.
Yeah, like
No.
regent or that's it. Yeah, queen regent is
No,
no, that's
not
just the
one.
mother of the young.
Yeah,
Like advisor or something.
yeah. I can't remember. I cannot remember. It is no. They have a proper name for the person who looks after the king when the king actually is a baby. So
Yeah.
basically, I assume that's the case because, well, I'm like early 30s and I couldn't run a country. I know fine well at age 4 I couldn't. You know, occasionally you'd wake up with crap in your pants at that age. I don't think you can run a state.
To be fair,
But
you still
anyway.
do that, Joe.
It does happen. It's mainly diet though, not age related. Do you know what Louis XIV's famous quote was? Do you remember? This is
Louis
This is one I knew.
XIV, at 4 years old. I'm not
it
sure
was
really.
Louis gone poopy.
Yeah. Which he was well known for, obviously. Oh, hello,
Creever.
Gakriva Studio. I don't know how to pronounce that. You're gonna have to put that in like phonetic.
In IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet.
I'm gonna go crush
Louis
these
XIV.
Portuguese.
Nice. Louis XIV was the famed monarch who said, "I am the state," or "L'état c'est moi" in French.
Oh, right,
But
yeah.
apparently never said it because that's how history works.
Is that
All
like
the coolest
the
things.
let them eat cake thing? Apparently that didn't happen either.
It didn't happen either, and even if she did say it, it wasn't cake, it was brioche. But apparently
was
that's
croissant.
not culturally relevant. Well, I think that was the idea. Like in French, it's much better because they go, the peasants are starving and they have no bread. So she's like, well, they should just eat the fancier bread. Do you know what I mean? Like if I was like,
but why aren't they
making
just eating the
breakfast one
fancy
morning.
bread? Like she's just completely unaware of the fact that like other people don't have as much money as she does.
That's the basically that was her whole kind of crack on. She was just supposedly just so out of the loop, I guess.
Out of touch.
Out of touch, that's it. She was in the loop. They were literally including her in the loop by telling her the peasants were starving and had no bread.
I tell you what, it's not like the monarchy to not really have a clue about their what the average individual has to deal with. Usually they're totally au fait with it.
Yeah,
Au fait?
good use of au fait. Yes, very good use of au fait talking about Marie Antoinette. Do you want a random? Do you want a really interesting segue, which is just completely coincidental since we're talking about Marie Antoinette?
Sure.
Today is Sofia Coppola's birthday in my list of birthdays, and if you recall, she directed the film Marie Antoinette with Kirsten Dunst. This is like 6 degrees of separation. That's a happy coincidence, isn't it?
Is that who's
in The Godfather
she the one
as
who
well,
did Lost in Translation?
That's her. Yeah, very
the
good.
movie about nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, I love it. That's the I am so averse to like watching films because they're too long, but will happily sit and watch a film where a guy just hates his life in Tokyo.
Yeah, I cannot actually remember anything happening in that film.
But you know what I'm like with games as well. Like you like a game to be a game. I can happily sit and play a game where it's just an experience. So I can play both. I like a game that's mechanically interesting as well, but it is something I can do where I can just sit and just like enjoy the colors and the noises if there's been some nice thought put into them.
Yeah.
Also, is this the Spaniards at Carnarvon?
This is the Portuguese at Nottingham.
Ah man,
Can you get
the
a
Spaniards
right
at
pace
Carnarvon. Are they still ramping up?
Yeah, they haven't been
They're
stupid
winding
enough
up for
to
the
attack.
strike. Yeah, it was also today. This is topical rather than a good segue, but today's also the day that Edward Jenner, no relation to Caitlyn. Actually, I don't know that, but I'm going to assume not. Administered the first smallpox inoculation in 1796.
Ah.
And not gonna fall down the rabbit hole of discussing vaccinations and all that kind of crack on. But I've never had smallpox. Have you had smallpox, James?
I haven't.
I thought I had it once, but it was just heartburn. And also in 1878, the last witchcraft trial was held in a very famous witch-trying city. If you know which one that is. It is. It was the last witchcraft trial in Salem, Massachusetts, on this day in 1878. And I mentioned Sofia Coppola, but my cheeky list of people whose birthdays they are, I thought maybe just to really distract you as you try to fend off the Portuguese.
I didn't see these guys coming up the side. Shooting bloody
Portuguese.
like a bloody catapult, firing at everybody. Well, go get that catapult.
Well, I'm gonna tell you whose people's birthday it is, Jim, and you're gonna tell me who they are.
All right, okay.
But they're all people I think you should know who they are. First one, probably pretty easy. Born in 1944, on this day, was George Lucas. You know who Georgie was, right?
You want me to just say like what they do?
Yeah, what he does.
Oh, right. Yeah, invented the Star Wars franchise, and later ruined it.
Just the way you started with the verb invented, I was like, where is he going with this? George Lucas invented stars and wars to be had in them. Tim Roth, born on this day in 1961.
Tim Roth. Am I going to get him confused? Is he the actor?
He is. Do you know what he was in?
He was in, well, he's been in lots of things, but he was in Reservoir Dogs, right?
That's the one, yeah.
He's the cop, right?
I couldn't tell you.
I think he's the cop who gets the infiltrator within the gang.
He's also in Pulp Fiction, I believe, as well, if I recall from.
Yeah, he's the one with
research.
who tries to steal all the wallets and stuff from the cafe. With
They're
his
the ones on
girlfriend.
on the table going.
Yeah,
mental.
yeah, that's him.
That's the classic one where the lass is just like screaming her head off.
Yeah, and he's like, "Shut up."
That's a good one. Born on this day in 1969, Kate Blanchett. Or Kate Blanchett. I don't know where the stress is on Blanchett.
I think it's Blanchett, but yeah, she's. I think it's Kate Blanchett Galadriel in Lord of the Rings.
Is that the big elf lady?
Yeah.
Well, they're all big. I'm not body shaming, I mean tall. Because they're all tall in comparison to hobbits. I believe that's her. We already mentioned Sofia Coppola. There's born on this day in 1984, Ollie Murs.
Ollie Murs is, well, I guess you'd call himself a singer, wouldn't he?
I can't clarify whether or not he ever has called himself a singer, but Wikipedia said he was. Here's one. Mark Zuckerberg, born on this day in 1984. Him and Ollie Murs share the same birthday.
Yeah, the robotic inventor of Facebook.
Yeah, I almost didn't say he was born on this day, but rather was going to go with
he was
built
invented
on this day. He was invented on this day in 1984. Mark Zuckerberg was built in a secret underground facility to infiltrate the human race with pictures of cats. And probably the most obscure one of today's birthdays. And I'm gonna garble the surname, but Rob Gronkowski.
Rob Gronkowski is he wide receiver for formerly the New England Patriots and now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Excellent American football knowledge. Yes, Gronk. He is not. I don't think it's wide receiver. From what I said, what I read was tight end. But
I don't know the positions. He catches the ball that Tom Brady throws.
Yes, who also moved with them in the same season. I think
yeah, and didn't they win it like last year?
And then they which
is crazy. Like if that doesn't prove that he's like the greatest quarterback of all time, I don't know what does. He literally moved from like a winning team to a team that had barely ever made the playoffs in the last 20 years and then just won the whole thing. Like that's pretty crazy.
Exactly.
If I was these Portuguese soldiers, I wouldn't be fighting for Portugal. They constantly come over, get beat. Then when I try and ransom them, they reject the ransom and they all end up dying. So like, I'm surprised they keep coming over here. If I was Portuguese, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing it. You don't even ransom us when we want to come back home after dying. It's crazy.
I know.
Dicks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's crazy with the Gronk and Tom Brady. I do remember that. Had an excellent Super Bowl Sunday. I don't usually follow the American football, the NFL much. I keep an ear out for it.
Yeah, just staying aware of what's going on. I guess. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's mainly one of these sports that is very difficult to follow when you're not in the same time zone as it.
Oh yeah.
I think that's an issue. Yeah, and like, I mean, with like certain with Australian fans of Formula One, like I feel that their pain because they have to get up at stupid o'clock for like most of the European races, which are taking place at like 2 or 3 in the morning for them, or stay up late, I guess. And because I've done that a handful of times for the Australian and Japanese Grand Prix, which take place at like 5 in the morning. Getting up early to watch them, but even then you're like, I watched it and it was kind of exciting, but now it's 7 in the morning and I feel like my day should be over because I've just watched some sports. Like it's not really what you want. But that's the reason I've never been able to get fully into American football. Because I think I've watched it the Super Bowl like the last 6 years running. Like I'll always watch the Super Bowl, but it's like it's not the same if you're not like, I guess
invested in the season.
Invested in the season for exactly. If you know who the teams are and what's going on, and watch every weekend during the regular season, it's much easier to get invested because you know which side you want to win. But I don't know. It's one of these sports that I'd like. I don't know if I lived over there, I could imagine I'd just totally get into it because I'll get into like any kind of sport really if it's.
I've tried to,
it's
but
on.
it's a little bit stop-start for me. It's a little bit. There's a lot going on outside of the actual game being played, if that makes sense. And
yes, there's a lot of subtext, I guess, if you want to say that. Like what you're actually seeing on screen is the culmination of a lot of other stuff that you haven't seen. Like one of these, I don't know, like the last bit of a Rube Goldberg machine, but you don't get to see all the. You've got to just infer all the cool mechanics that went on in the background before the play took place.
Mm-hmm.
But it's no, my mum's boyfriend's a big fan of it, and he'll watch it as much as he can. I know there's
it's definitely become more popular in the UK since they started holding those games at Wembley.
Well, that was great when those were on, because what I kind of like is not only are you watching it at a more reasonable time, like mid Sunday afternoon, you also have the coverage is adjusted to us, and what I mean by that is they kind of just they know that there will be a big audience of people who don't regularly watch this but do want to get involved. So it's kind of NFL for dummies almost at times with the coverage, where it's with any sport or game or hobby or anything like that, it's very difficult to get into it when you've when you don't know any of the terminology or context to what's
definitely
to what's happening.
Definitely. Well, apparently we did get the pronunciation right on the studio. Yeah. On Gakriva Studio. You know, I'm getting the pronunciation wrong.
If I'm not mistaken, now we get it wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, I think they are out in Romania. Gakriva. I don't think it's a town. Just I know from interactions on Twitter and the likes, we regularly do the Wishlist Wednesday and Screenshot Saturday retweets, and Gakriva fancies features regularly in our retweets.
So we're gonna smash through them walls pretty quick. Look at these fancy chaps with these. That's a fancy looking halberd, isn't it?
Do a good halberd.
Yeah, but these ones are particularly fancy. They've got different angles on them. Snazzy gear. I'll give the Egyptians one thing. They're one of the snazzier
They do a good
factions.
halberd. They do a good halberd, those Egyptians.
They do. How many rocks do you need to break down a wall?
Come along to Crazy Cairo's halberd warehouse, just off Nile Avenue, outside of Cairo.
And while you're there, you can pick up a snazzy outfit as well. Halberds and outfits, that's what they call.
Halberds and halter tops. I don't know. Couldn't think of any clothing that alliterated with H. At least not medieval era clothing. Halberds and what else would you wear? Halberds and hosiery. Oh no, that's just people in tights. Just imagine these soldiers with with tights on. No tops.
You wouldn't take the mick if he was holding a halberd, though.
You would if he was wearing satin tights. I mean, you'd be like, "Oh, that's such a nice halberd, and it's going to be the end of me." But can't not laugh at this random Egyptian dude with just tights on. No undercrackers on under his tights either. I'm just talking full on
just tights.
Just tights. Just tights and halberds. Halberds and hosieries.
Through the enemy's walls.
Smash that wall
and onto victory.
Yeah. Right. Alright. Everybody
This
pile
is done.
forward.
This is essentially them done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they had an out before we started, right? They had an out before we let them take Cairo back. That was the deal.
They've got a few that coming down the street here, but like, and while this is going on, I may as well make another hole over there.
Yeah, but if you look at the even the little meter that tells us how close we are to winning, that's
Right, this is
the
it.
highest it's ever been before fights even started.
It's just these
You know what I
chaps
mean,
and
like-
halberd and hosiery down at the town centre.
Off the corner of Cairo and Alexandria.
Yeah.
I assume that would be the case because that's often how street names are originated. Like the street is the name of the place it goes to. If you get me, like back home, Durham Road leads you all the way to Durham.
Yeah.
There's a lot of even like I think almost every place I've moved to has had like a name of like the next major city. And the street, obviously, that just leads to it, which later obviously becomes like a highway or a motorway or whatever, and then gets like a stupid name and a number. But the actual street itself normally has a name.
Alright, should get this lot.
They're having a bad time.
The battle is very much in our favour. If we
Oh,
remain
you're Chipper
true and
today, aren't you?
steadfast,
He's had a good
victory
week, hasn't
will
he?
be ours.
Negative
Yes.
Nelly.
He must have, he's had that raise. He's been after for ages. His wife's going to get off his back now. So you ask about that
Like, you've
raise at
gotta be
work
mo-
again, honey. I will do
If
it,
you'd been
love, I
more
will.
assertive- If you've been more assertive, this is what your life coach
My
Dave
lord,
says.
We've breached our enemy's walls.
You've got to ask, they'll never give you it, man. And then he did ask and they gave him it, now he's just proper chuffed.
Now just every battle, he's like, come on guys, we can do this. The enemy outnumbers us 900 to 1, but the battle is swaying in our favor.
Look at this guy's hat. It's got like a tall hat.
Shout out tall hat.
That's like a
Has he got a
hat
Santa
with like
hat
a
on?
sock on or something, yeah. Looks a bit weird. Good, get him.
Our soldiers have proved their worth today. The enemy's walls
He's
belong to
in
us
fine
now.
fettle, isn't he?
He is, he's loving today, isn't he?
It's just. I saw a GIF of a. It might have been a sea lion, but it could have equally been a seal. I'm not an expert on these animals, but one's got ears, one doesn't. But I saw a GIF of one of them doing spins in a pool whilst holding a saxophone. It's the most Friday GIF I've ever seen, and I think it should just become shorthand for Fridays now. Like next time you're on Imgur or whatever, just search like seal saxophone. Hopefully it won't give you the musician, who I think there's the musician Seal as
Although,
well.
I'd probably watch a video of Seal using a saxophone. Look at these Muppets. Turn round, man.
It's off of. I've just looked it up. It's off of Vine. There was
Oh, no.
apparently
Those
OG
halberd
Vine.
chaps are coming.
Have they made
That's
their way
alright.
through the other
That's
ones?
alright. We'll be alright. Here we go. We'll get them, fellas.
I feel that halberds versus are they pikemen,
Spears.
pikeys? I don't know, spearmen. Spearmen versus halberds seems like a lot of lunging going on, right? There's,
Yeah. That'll be a
Just a lot.
long, drawn-out affair, that one.
Yeah, it's like there's only one direction you can attack with. Well, no, a halberd you can swing, right? Because it's got the kind of axey bit on it as well. Like halberd's like big long sticks on a stick plus a spear,
It is, yeah.
so that you can swing it down and. Do
I
a
think there's a bit of
cheeky
misconception
sword.
about how it was used. I remember watching a video about that ages ago. It was mainly used as like the stabbing end of it, because swinging it like an axe, if you miss, someone just steps in and
carries, yeah.
cuts the wooden bit, and you've lost your weapon. So
Yeah.
it was that the halberd axey bit was used to, like, you would stab forward, and then as you pulled back, it would like drag a shield or drag the person forward if you didn't actually stab them.
So that's more like a So it's more like a hook to pull the shield off someone
Yeah.
else.
I mean, obviously it was, you also had the huge weight behind it if you were trying to, if someone was like downed or prone or something, you could do it, but it was mainly used as a thrusting weapon.
Yeah, Because because if you were to swing it, it's a far away from the like pivot point, as it were, which would be your hands, right?
Yes,
that
you
means
would
the
lose
end of
control
it
of the weapon
carries
pretty quick.
Yeah, that means the end of it, and I imagine it's very top heavy.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
With all the weight at the end of it. That means all the weight is at the end of the circle, like at the edge of the circle or the radius that you swing it, which means it would carry more momentum and it'd be harder to stop. So you'd put all this energy into swinging it, and then if you miss, it wouldn't surprise me if it would just carry on like a full like quarter circle or even like a half circle, and this would have you with a weapon like off to the side or even behind you.
And also, you become unsteady because you've just swung this big heavy thing forwards.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And now you're out of position.
Yeah.
What's it called? Not position. You know what I mean? Like your pose is off.
Yeah. You know, plus like
stance.
the benefit of a long weapon like that is the distance. If you lose
you want to keep distance. Yeah.
you
the
kind of
second
lost the point of it.
Yeah. It's like a boxer with a good reach, isn't it? Your reach with a halberd is good. Don't swing it and immediately
you wouldn't go
sacrifice
running
that.
in like with a haymaker straight away because then you'd lose the advantage that you have.
Unless you could coordinate it with the other halberdsmen next to you, that could be a possible. If you have someone who wants to like swing sideways as you like lunge, just as long as they cannot hit you. Like if they had a nice like swingy arc in front of you, like the two guys next to you, you could do some thrusts, and then you'd have all bases covered. But that would take the kind of coordination which I imagine is not possible in the middle of a pretty hectic fight.
No.
You probably just learn that you just learn the one move in a medieval fight and you spam it. Like I'd imagine you'd play as cheesy as possible unless you're like a well-trained like high-level soldier who's seen like loads of fights. But for your average like scrub conscripted off the street or whatever, you just do that one move they taught you in like basic training and just do it over and over and hope you'd live.
Well, I was watching a video ages ago as well about like knights and plate armor and stuff. Like they would very rarely use a sword in battle, but that's one of the easiest things. Also, it's kind of like synonymous with knights. So like Hollywood's kind of adopted the sword as the main weapon, but apparently it was far more likely to be an axe, a mace, or a bill hook or something like that, which was a more piercing, stronger weapon than a sword.
So what's a bill hook?
It's like a small version of it. They wouldn't have used a bill hook. That was kind of like a peasant's weapon, but it was very effective against. It's like a mini halberd, really.
Yeah, apparently it's in the machete family of swords, but there's a sword, a cutting tool. I guess.
It was basically like almost like a farmer's tool that became a weapon. They kind of weaponized it.
I think a lot of weapons originated from actual agricultural tools.
There was the tonfa.
Yes, that was. I was going to say there's a lot of the Japanese ones. I think is it Okinawa where the tonfa came from? Or am I
think it was the tonfa Chinese or was it Japanese?
Oh,
that was a peasant question. It was like the tonfa was almost like a door handle or something, wasn't it? And it was like ripped off to be used, and then they kind of weaponized it or something.
Well, apparently it is common in Okinawan martial arts, which is why I thought it emerged from there. But that doesn't mean it didn't come over from China, which is literally what this says. The most commonly cited origins is China, though it may have originated in Indonesia or Thailand. But I guess it's common use as a weapon is in the Okinawan martial arts, which is the same for the sai, I believe. That is a farmer's tool that
right, yeah.
if I recall correctly, like the Sai itself isn't, but I think this this kind of thing is like, I guess originated from like, would you call it like militia or
Yeah,
non-professional
citizen, like a citizen
citizens' army?
soldiery type thing.
Yeah, and I think you get a lot of this with weaponry, a lot of fork-like things. I mean, I guess like people like saw who survived and like, what were you swinging around in that fight? And, like door
Listen,
handle
George,
or
I'm
whatever.
never
Do
taking
you know what I mean?
control
Or
of the city.
How
I
did
was
you
just,
fend off that bloke? Oh, just rip one of these door handles off. Ah,
I
stick
chair
like
leg?
some like metal spikes on the end of it and that, and just
Yeah, like I guess like a lot of the bludgeoning weapons, it would, probably initially evolved from like whatever the hell you could pick up. Just find something that extends your reach. A la that scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey where the monkeys are approached by apes actually. The apes are approached by, well, they're not approached by it. The monolith. When they first witness the monolith and work out how to use tools, and they realize that the bone is a good extension of their own reach and gives them more striking power. I can feel like a similar idea with like farmers in early history.
yeah.
Just having this like eureka moment going, holy shit, this big blade we regularly use to just cut long grass cuts people just as good, and it gives me a 6-foot range.
At least prancing around like, yeah, our job's done.
We own the shop.
We'll just
I
let everyone else
wonder-
take care of it.
You know when like horses look like they're dancing House of Pain in the Olympics? You know, in the
Yeah.
equestrians where they do that bounce. It's just like little, I forget what that's called, but you know where they like alternate legs and just kind of hop up and down weirdly. It's not a trot because they're not actually like, most of their movement is vertical. But that's what those guys should be doing. I hope in later games they animate that. But have you seen the stuff for Total War Warhammer, the newer one?
Yeah.
Because apparently it's meant to be immense.
Oh yeah, it looks really good. Plus, anytime you get, armored mounted bears in a fight, I think that's a win for everybody.
They would get bested by the famed bear traps in Rainbow Six Siege. That's for sure.
Archie traps.
Yeah. From what I've seen, the stuff is that it's quite good. It's the battles are meant to be good. All I don't think it's out yet.
All
I
of
think the
Christendom will be
early
awed by
chat
the
is that
victory
it's
we have
the
won
battles
here
are class.
today.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
they keep
wrong with
adding
that,
new stuff to it to like expand the game, and they stitch all the games together as well. So like the
third
second
gen, isn't
game,
it?
it is, yeah. The second game they stitched into the first one, so like the campaign map like doubled in size basically with the second game, and then the third game's set in a new area, so that they're going to be adding that to it eventually. So you eventually be playing like the sandbox mode with all 3 maps stitched together. It'll be like, absolutely colossal with each of the factions involved. Yeah, it'll be really good. But yeah, every time they've released a new game, they've kind of like, evolved it and then added all those evolutions to the old games as well. So you've got this very consistent experience across them.
Yeah, I mean, I am very much a bigger fan of 40k than I am a fantasy Warhammer.
Such is the fate of all.
But I can see with like their experience in games,
Before us, my lord.
fantasy Warhammer, which is more, I guess more medieval and historical in tone, would probably translate better to this type of game than
Yeah. No, they've done a fantastic job with that series. By far, I mean, I love the old historical Total Wars. I've loved these games since the early 2000s, but the fantasy ones are by far my favorite. They're just, you can just tell how much fun the development team have had putting those games together. There's obviously, they're kind of forced to adhere to relative historical accuracy when they're making these games, whereas those other ones they can really have quite a lot of fun putting the game together.
Yeah, I imagine they've also, especially now, they probably have an even bigger, like, I guess, social responsibility to these games, because look, it is 2021, and there are probably certain aspects of historical life that you probably want to like tiptoe around when making a historically accurate game, but that can all go out the window when you're using a non-historical source material, as it were. Like, no one is going to get upset if you mistreat like orcs. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just well, I say, and then I'll find out there's a massive like orc controversy. Actually, I'm worried there might be a massive orc controversy, and I'm just like blind to it.
Yeah, you're just showing your ignorance right now, Joe.
Actually, no, there was a big orc controversy last year, because this wasn't in Warhammer, but it was in D&D, and apparently I don't know if it was orcs, maybe it was orcs, but there are racial characteristics, racist racial characteristics exhibited in the orcs, apparently, that the creators of
At your service.
not the creators,
On my way.
the community for D&D apparently had to address last year, which I did not know.
Really? All right.
Which, it was the second I started thinking about it. Apparently, there's probably some other stuff. I saw results suggesting some stuff with Tolkien as well, whereas perhaps these certain races have been created in Middle Earth as a sort of stand-in for real-world races, as it were.
And that was explicitly mentioned by Tolkien, or is that something someone's assumed about it?
This is yes.
Right,
this is
okay.
something I'm guessing that someone has drawn parallels to, which is
So they're trying to find problems where there isn't necessarily one. Is that, or is it like really obvious?
I don't know. I just saw a headline about it, but I can imagine that people have looked into it, and from what I know about like Middle Earth, is it there's a lot of racial tension in Middle Earth. It's literally everyone has a faction based on race, and they belong to it, and then they like it. Some of them get along, some of them don't. They give each other jip for it, but there's I can also imagine that some people and actors will probably also use this source material as like a vehicle for their own hate, which is probably more so where problems could arise, rather than like suggesting intent by the author, if you get me. Like,
yeah, because I feel the very nature of suggesting intent is basically just your opinion, right? I mean,
yes, it's like authors can have intent, but also I guess you can say like once an author's created their work and published it, it kind of half belongs to the people who experience and the way they choose to experience it. If like the times we spoke about Jonathan Blow, you know, the creator of The Witness, and oh shit, what was his big game? The one that like launched. Why can't I remember the name of it? Anyway, with him in Indie Game the movie, and I said he came across as a bit of a dick because he was like, they're playing it wrong, and it's like, yeah, whatever you wanted to do, now that you've put it out in the public sphere, sorry, you've got to just like deal with it. You've got to deal with the way it's being perceived and used. because you know, as a creator, you can't just go out to everyone's house and tell them they're like reading your book wrong or whatever. Or
Yeah.
so I mean, you know, there's probably important points, and also, I mean, Tolkien was written a long. Tolkien's books were written a long time ago as well. So even if they do draw parallels with like the tones and way people spoke, you can
Yeah.
still read and enjoy them and go, yeah, maybe you know, even if this is based on like his racial beliefs, if we assume he had them, you know, you can also go, but that's not the way we're enjoying it, and also we know that's wrong. Like reading this, if you know, if we read Shakespeare, do we go, hang on, people shouldn't be going out and killing each other? Shakespeare's condoning murder, whereas like when everyone dies in a Shakespeare at some point, you know.
Well, if
it's,
that's the case, like, surely the logic would extend to there never being any conflict ever again in any story ever written, because everyone just gets along because everyone's super nice to each other all the time. Like, you know, you cannot remove all that stuff, can you? That's where's the conflict. I mean, I'm not saying you should have, you know, the conflict can arise from different things. I'm certainly not condoning that, but
Yes, Your Highness.
you know, it's such a
On my way.
to get, I guess, take modern day values
Yes,
and
Your Highness.
have a problem with
and
something that
sensitivities and
sensitivities. And then like hold someone who lived 400 years ago to those values is a bit harsh on that person,
Continuing one side.
Need someone removed.
because they didn't know it. You know, if he was around now, he probably wouldn't have written certain stories about certain people doing certain things. But
in certain ways,
yeah,
exactly.
like, you know,
It's-
different time you cannot sort of. I don't know. It's a tricky one, but
Yeah, I
don't think everyone's reading it going, yeah, that's the way it should have been.
No, but there are some people who do, and that, I think in that case, that's where it's a problem, and you may be like,
We're under siege, sire.
I don't know. I
But
feel
those
like
people are kind of
with stuff like
liable
that-
to believe that sort of, to
Yeah, it's
think
like
that sort of
confirmation
weird
bias.
way anyway. You know, like, yeah, they're just weird people to begin with. Like, if it wasn't that story, they'd just make it up themselves. Like, there's some people just predisposed to being idiots.
Well, I think it's confirmation bias, where you just look for the stuff that agrees with you, or find stuff with suggestions of things you could agree with, and then just like piggyback off the back of that. Do you know what I mean? So it is like I was saying earlier when I watched that like Viz stuff, like it's from like 1990 and was already not a, you know, the Viz is not a magazine known for being PC. It's not. Its shtick wasn't PC in the 90s. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was purposely like that kind of
Gods. say
humor.
yes.
Always has been. It's always been like rude and risque, and that's the crack on.
Yeah.
And
Shall continue tomorrow, my liege.
nor was this by 1990 standards or by 2021 standards. It was pretty risque. That's its whole that's its whole deal. So you know, watching it going like, yeah, no one would ever, you know, there are a few things in this that would not fly on TV today, and I know they wouldn't.
Sire.
But behind the intent, I think it's more a case of maybe the guy creating this, their intent was just to make people laugh and be happy.
At your service.
You know, there's no political message behind it. That's not the guy's, you know, that's not the creator's intent. It doesn't feel like that's the creator's intent. As we said, we can't say what creator intent is. We can never know unless the creator comes out and literally says, this is my intent. And even then they could be lying. But
Aye, sire.
you know what?
And the
I'd like to give people the benefit of the doubt. If someone says, I just tried to say or do something and my intent was to like make people laugh,
people rule these waters,
I'm sorry if like you didn't like my joke and thought it was offensive, but I wasn't trying, you know, I'm not at a rally telling you to like marginalize or kill or maim a certain group of people or treat them in a certain way. I was just trying to like subvert your expectations for the purpose of a joke. Then I guess
Yeah.
you can go, fair enough, I didn't find it funny. Do you know what I can do? I can either just like not engage with the material that you're creating, and go find material that doesn't offend me and that I do like. And if you know, there's so many shows that would probably just be greatly offensive to me, and I don't see them. I mean, just greatly offensive because I think they're shit. You know, I just don't watch them.
Yeah, that's a
If you
cool
flick on the
sounding.
tally, is that the Norse dude? Flick him up
No,
again.
no, I meant like this unit, Norse war clerics.
Oh yeah,
Scandinavian
meant is-
bishops are not your average men of the cloth.
nice.
I want one of them. Can we have war
To be honest,
clerics?
It sounds like they are the average man of the cloth in this time period, because
Yeah.
religious fighting seems to be rife in this. Well, whew. Is it hot in here? No. Anyways, yes. Religious-based fighting was par for the course during the early 13th century, where we currently find ourselves in this game.
Mm-hmm. What do we want here?
Better public services for Cairo.
When do we want it?
Now. Well, actually, what we want in Cairo is, and no one take this quote out of context, no more Muslims, because this is part of our plan, is that
Yes,
our,
the game does not
different
allow
religions-
you to be of a certain
Peacefully
religious persuasion and the people of the other religious persuasion be okay with it.
yes,
You have
that
to.
is the
yeah.
that is the mechanics. So in this game, we have to get rid of all the Muslims in Cairo. So
we
that
have to
can
convert the
run
populace,
Cairo.
basically.
I mean, we don't have to, because we could just, like, I don't know, sit in our one town and just wait out the clock on this game. But that's really not probably the least interesting way to play it.
Well, we'd lose the game as well. It'd be kind of a waste of time.
What is the win state for the game actually?
I think
think
we
I've
have to
ever asked.
own 40 settlements, I guess, and Jerusalem.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't even know what the win condition of this was. I just thought our plan was to own it all. And I thought that was just our own self-imposed win condition. But yeah, of course, the game has a victory condition. I guess that must be met. So you can't. I guess you can't just chill and hope it all blows over.
You can't, because everyone in this game is pretty aggressive. So if you just
yeah.
wait, they'll come and try and get you. And if it's the point of the game.
I guess if you just fortified in the one place, you wouldn't have the earnings or the means or the resources to fortify enough.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go out and shoot tatties. You know, this is just. I'm not gonna wait for this. Have it.
He's got 0 stars, Mr. Toke. Is it Toke of the Norse? Was he Norse?
He's Danish. Yeah.
Danish. I mean, I guess he is also Norse.
Right.
We went and got. Wait, why are we?
Hang
I
on.
thought
What's
we.
going on?
Why are we in the city? I
Oh,
thought you
because I'm
moved
sallying
around.
forth. Sally forth?
Oh, what?
Hang
does
on,
that
are they
even
just
mean?
running up towards us? Okay, I'll just put me. Will this work? Will they be stupid enough to do that? Oh no, they're staying. They're waiting there. That's fair enough.
Got like anything of note that's gonna even cause us?
Yeah,
kerfuffle?
they've got some heavily armored dudes.
No, but I mean like the city walls.
Oh no. They've got like maybe one ballista or something like that, but
So nothing that can really do. So we got the gadgets who can get up on the walls, the archers.
yeah, but I'm not gonna bother. I'm just gonna go out and attack them.
Go out and chin them. Do you not want to feed them through the? It's
I've
not
got
worth feeding them through the
5
walls?
units of longbows. I'm just gonna pepper them from a
So they,
distance.
so they can get up there and.
I'll have a look at these
Start
war
smashing it.
clerics. Where are you? Oh, here they are. Ooh, they've got little maces.
They also look.
Ooh, look at this guy.
They look legit baller.
They
That
do.
is, they look like the knights you were describing, I guess. with like the shield and mace combo.
Yeah,
I assume they were maces. No, hang on. Yeah, maces is just a club you twat people with, isn't it?
it is. That's the actual scientific description of a mace.
What's the thing with the spiky ball on a chain? What's that called again? You know what I mean?
Is
Like
that Morning Star? No.
yeah, yes.
Is that on a chain? That's on a chain,
that's
yeah?
right.
Yeah.
I think so. Not to be confused with Ninja Star. No. From a flail. A flail is the one I'm
okay.
thinking of. So, a Morning Star is the type of mace that we were talking of with the ball on the spike.
Okay. Spiky mace.
Because the spiky ball mace. So mace is just a club, and a morning star is a spiky ball, because I guess the spiky ball looks like the morning star. The thing on a chain, stick, chain plus spiky ball, that is a flail. If you recall from Friday nights watching Robot Wars, any kind of chain weapon was referred to as a flail. And largely ineffective from what I call. I mean, imagine getting hit by like massive chains would absolutely knack, but
not if you're wearing
didn't
armor.
do anything to. But not if you were a robot. Like all the robots in Robot Wars that had chains that spun round, even if they were like, this is a 10,000 RPM flail, it would just like glance off any like armor. I never saw it destroy anything. Never saw a single like flail weapon. In
Picks were good in
90s.
Robot Wars, weren't they? A pick or a saw.
Saws were good, but
Oh, a
also
flipper,
crushing
actually. The
ones.
flipper was like
Flippers.
the best weapon in it.
It
Go
was
flip something
when they
upside
got,
down
like-
and then smash it.
But also the ones, because the first, I know the UK series, the first one was won by a robot that had 0 weapons on it, which was kind of funny. Remember Roadblock? It was just a wedge. Like the robot was a wedge. And I think it was made by like students at Oxford or Cambridge or whatever, and they just decided it would just be a big wedge made out of road signs, and it would just drive under the other ones and flip them over.
Yeah.
And nobody had considered the idea that that robot would get turned upside down, and once the robot's on its back, it's essentially like a turtle.
Okay,
so
come
it's
back.
done.
What are you doing? Everybody come back. What are you doing?
So yeah, and then they got into flippers because they realized turning a robot upside down to immobilize it is pretty effective. So instead of just letting it drive up us and then fall over, we can
they're
actually
coming in a wedge,
accelerate
too.
the process. They're gonna it'd be proper funny if they like moved through the soldiers like an actual physical wedge and just flipped them over, like just parted them, as it were. They've been watching late 90s Robot Wars on BBC Two with hosted by Jeremy Clarkson first season,
It
Craig
was.
Charles after that.
Craigie.
They used to do his
Craig
thing
Charles
where
is
he
pretty
rhymed
good, I
at the end of the show. Craig Charles is amazing because he's on Red Dwarf and as a DJ.
It's a terrible idea for them to come charge. Oh, he went
That guy
flying.
just fucking that guy got proper road blocked. No, what was the one with the Cassius? Remember that one? Cassius was the one with the big flipper. That
Yeah.
dude got done like Cassius. I think it was called Recyclops in the first series, and the same people who made that came back with this Cassius thing that had just a massive flip. Remember, and it used to launch itself up because the flipper was so powerful. Like it used to like jolt upwards every time it used its like super flipper.
Yeah.
And it like flipped robots out of the arena, if I recall correctly, like up and over the walls, and that became a thing because its flipper was so powerful.
That was the weapon of choice, so I remember like everyone used to think, oh, like cutting, smashing, like all that's the fun stuff, but then yeah, when that robot had the flip out, it was just like, nah, nothing's beating that. Because you just had the wedge
Crusher
shape.
was good.
Crusher was good, yeah. Slow
Razor,
crush
was
thing.
it?
Yeah, Razor was good, yeah.
A thing that would like if you can put all your power into like a slow exerted pressure over a long period of time, that would slowly like absolutely tear a robot apart because it would start like crushing into its like inner workings, wouldn't it? And that's when you do the real damage, I would imagine. Once you start like smashing wheels and like motors and batteries and stuff like that.
Yep. I remember like a few of them had like flamethrowers and that, and those flamethrowers are usually pretty terrible.
No,
like...
no, they didn't have. Only house robots had flamethrowers.
Oh, is this?
Flamethrowers were banned by, I think, by the competition because you don't want people like operating flammables. Like, only like the professionals at the BBC were allowed flamethrowers, and only Sergeant Bash had the flamethrower.
Sergeant Bash.
But yeah, he had. I think he had a flamethrower and a little pincer at the front, and had like the camo one. That show came back not too long ago, a couple of years ago. Remember that with Dara O'Brien hosting?
Right. I never saw any of the ones with him in it, but I do remember.
It was good. I remember watching them back on YouTube, and thinking it was quite good. I was like, it's got exactly the same appeal as it did previously. Like everything I liked about it was in this one, but I don't think it did well enough to warrant like renewal after a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
But clearly, I think in the US they still have it, like maybe not on national tally, but they'll have a channel somewhere with like their Ultimate Robot Fighting League or whatever it's called over there, still ongoing, and probably like regional and national tournaments, because if there's one thing they like doing in America, it's organizing a competition, whether it's building your own robots or eating hot dogs. If anything can be turned into a competition, it will be, and it will be televised.
Our men are winning the battle.
Yes,
If we
they are.
continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
He is having a good day. What a great day for.
He's had a good stream today, hasn't he? He's not. I don't think he said anything negative at all this time round.
I think Mrs. Nelly has had words.
It's just, you see, I'm not gonna put up with all this negativity, Tony.
Not in my house. Every time you get back from a battle, you're just like, he would probably be buzzing, wouldn't he? Because he's like, you know what? I really thought we were gonna lose today, honey, and I was wrong. Pleasantly surprised.
Good tidings.
I was
The
saying
enemy
all the way
general
through the battle
lies dead.
that it was
Set the
hopeless, all
base
hope was
curve to
lost,
hell.
yada yada yada, and
And you know
then we
what?
killed
I was
their
wrong
general,
again.
and now he's gonna start being positive. We're gonna start like losing.
All of Christendom will be awed.
We're gonna start losing like easy victories.
Yeah. Right, here we go. Watch this. I mean, it's only 468. There we go. Okay.
Victory! Nothing can stop us, sire.
Nice. All right, I'm going
That's
to
not
get
the
these
same
guys
dude,
all healed up, and I guess we're going to call the stream there. It's a bit of a short and sweet one this evening, but we've got a couple other things we need to take care of tonight, so we don't have a huge amount of time for this one.
Largely successful.
Largely successful, yeah. We took what did we take? Was it Cairo back? Yeah,
I
and
believe we took.
everyone looks reasonably happy at this point, so I'm sure that'll change by the time we play the game next. Got
So-
priests everywhere.
Took Cairo back and put priests everywhere.
Yep.
At your service.
Yes.
A couple over there. Yeah, and defended Nottingham and Caernarvon a couple of times as well, because they just won't stop coming. They're going to run out of men at some point, surely.
No more wars.
You'd think so. They're suffering heavy losses on the reg.
They are. And then maybe eventually I'll be able to leave the UK and try and take back some of Europe. But
Just like real life.
I know. We'll start up in Normandy and we'll make our way south. But
I know, at least we've got a nice foothold in North Africa, Northeast Africa, I guess.
yeah, a couple of big.
We're getting
Big
close to that
places.
city at the bottom as well, whatever that name is.
The Dongola.
Oh, that's a great name.
It is a good name.
That
Oh, there's nothing there as well. I could go take that now. I've got no garrison.
Someone removed, sir. Name thy target, sire.
He's a bit suspicious, isn't he? Yeah,
he's a spy.
he's an assassin, that one, eh?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Dead.
But yeah, we'll take that over next time, and then we'll progress, I guess, east, so we can take Jerusalem
Land.
and a few of these places that are closer together. I think the further west you go, the kind of more sparse and deserty it is. So
Yeah.
not quite as good. We'll go east, next time, as well as try and get out of the UK. But it's reasonably successful. We didn't lose any towns this time around.
No. No, well, I guess it was a +1 for this
It was.
win-loss ratio. No, our points differential or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like
we're at +1 today.
time on ice, 1 hour 10 plus +1 for I guess time on sand. I guess, but we're +1 for settlements.
Yep.
Over the stream.
And we got largest faction again, thanks to that humongous bit of
Danish
region that we
defeat.
just took there. Like,
Oh, right,
was
for
massive down the bottom there.
Oh, is it by like square footage? I thought it'd be
Yeah,
on
it
like
is,
a
yeah.
settlement per settlement basis.
No, it's like how much of the do you actually own of the world map?
Ah, so the actual towns have different physical sizes, as it were, in terms of regions.
Yeah, you can see on the map down the bottom left there.
I
Like,
can see that different size, but I mean, like mechanically, they are worth different amounts based on
yeah,
the percentage of land they cover.
yeah,
That's cool. Makes them worth different amounts. If
Yeah.
they're all worth the same, it wouldn't really matter which settlement you took over, would it? I guess.
no, it wouldn't. No. Cool, right? Well, I guess we'll stop it there.